Would you ever become a vegan? Because I'm a vegetarian now.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is for Lauren Curtis, Australia's #1 beauty vlogger who has almost 3.5 million subscribers on YouTube and 1.4 million followers on Instagram.
This is an Aussie girl just like us. G'day Lauren.
G'day Loz.
And as Luca just said, she has this huge influence on social media. It is amazing how many people she is reaching. And the larger the platform, the greater the responsibility is that we spread the most ethical and compassionate message possible, because we are reaching so many impressionable people. Just take a look at fellow YouTube makeup guru Carli Bybel. She recently went vegan overnight. She was watching our video and Frilly the Banana Girl, and she made the connection. So many of her followers came over to our vegan channels, and they're learning, and they're all saying, I'm going vegan, just like Carli. This is fantastic. So what we do, what we say, what we show on social media has a massive impact on the audience.
So a heap of you messaged us recently letting us know that Lauren had done a Q&A on Snapchat and you asked us to respond. So let's hear what she had to say.
Would you ever become a vegan? Because I'm a vegetarian now. Maybe, for sure, maybe, but I think I'd rather take very small steps to get to that point. Not even very small, just small steps.
So it's good to hear that Loz is already vegetarian, and it's great to hear that she's open to the possibility of becoming vegan.
Absolutely. Now, baby steps. It's important to remember that baby steps are for babies. And when we as adults take baby steps, we actually deny the real babies, the baby animals, their opportunity to take their own steps throughout their life. And we're going to explain more about that in a moment.
So a little background about us. We were raised eating the standard Australian American Western diet full of meat, dairy and eggs. We went vegetarian at 29 years of age, and we were vegetarian for 2.5 years because we didn't know the truth about dairy and egg production, which we'll explain more in a moment. Once we learned that truth, we went vegan overnight, and we've now been vegan for almost 5 years.
Vegetarian is a really good first step because we're taking out the most dense of animal foods, the flesh, the meat. It's really obvious that it's an animal body part. We're taking that out. Good first step. The problem with the egg and dairy industries, because the truth is hidden from us so well, is that we don't make the connection. We don't see eggs and dairy as actually liquid meat in terms of the devastation on our health, on the environment, and also the ethical implications. And as vegetarians, we used to do the same thing. We would always say, oh, I've done my bit, right? I've taken out meat, I've taken out the worst thing, I don't need to do any more, and we're kind of like this. And I remember when we first went vegetarian, we were traveling, we came back home to Australia, and my grandmother said to me, oh, but you still eat eggs and cheese, right? And I remember what I responded with was, yeah, of course, Nan, I've done enough by giving up meat. I'm not going to go that far. Do you remember that? It was incredible. Now, if I could see myself back then to now, what I know now, it would have been a completely different mindset.
So people often say to vegans, why address vegetarians at all? You should just focus on people who eat meat. The reason is because vegetarians already have more of an awareness about where their food comes from and therefore animal rights issues. And in 2016, if you're vegetarian and on social media, it's highly unlikely that you haven't come across the truth behind dairy and egg production. So the question then is it enough to sit back and say, well, I've already cut out meat, so the suffering I'm not causing over here justifies the suffering I'm still causing over here eating dairy and eggs?
I have been drinking soy milk for ages. I eat vegan butter. I barely ever eat eggs. I barely ever eat cow's milk, drink cow's milk. For me, similar to the way I became vegetarian, I'd rather just cut stuff out slowly and get to that point rather than putting heaps of pressure on me to do it like cold turkey. So one day.
Yes, this is really good to hear, Lauren. You're definitely on the way. You're taking the right steps. There's vegan substitutes put in there. Wonderful. Now, whether somebody takes baby steps or they go cold turkey, see what I did there? Look, there are pros and cons to both. Some people find it very helpful to take the smaller steps, and that's going to make them vegan long-term for the rest of their life. The problem we have is how long are those little steps going to take? Is it a week? Is it a month? Or is it years and years and years? Some people take these steps forever. And we must remember, every time we eat animal products, no matter what the product is, we are causing suffering, and we're going to get to that in a moment. Now, if you decide to go cold turkey and take all of those products out immediately, The benefit is that if the products aren't in your home, you're less likely to eat them. If they're out of your body, out of your taste buds, that makes a huge difference. And also where the mind goes. If you're kind of like, oh yeah, I'll just have a little bit here and a little bit there, then those products just tend to be around in your life a lot longer than if you just decide, no, that's it, I'm plant-based now or I'm vegan now, and that's it.
Exactly. It's like an alcoholic who's trying to give up alcohol. They're not going to say, I'm going to cut back from 5 days a week drinking to 2 days a week. That 2 days a week is still going to keep them in the cycle of alcoholism. So the best thing to do for an alcoholic or a drug addict is to go cold turkey. And when it comes to dairy products, they are actually addictive. They contain naturally occurring opioids, which keep the baby calf coming back to suckle at the mother so that they can grow big and strong. The problem is when we consume these naturally occurring opioids in dairy products as human adults, we become addicted to dairy products, which is why the number one reason that vegetarians give when they say they won't go vegan is because they love cheese too much.
Which of course there's vegan cheese substitutes, so there's no excuse, but that is the number one reason.
Because
I can't give up my cheese.
That's right, because those naturally occurring opioids are concentrated in cheese.
Yeah, we're addicted to them, aren't we?
We literally are, chemically.
Yeah. Now we always hear people saying, oh, I hardly eat any dairy, I hardly eat any eggs anyway. And that's not true because the numbers are telling us.
In Australia alone, 700,000 male calves are killed by the dairy industry every year. And 12 million male chicks are killed by the egg industry every year in Australia alone.
And it's not vegan, so it has to be people who are still eating those products. Now we had a look at Lauren's food. She doesn't show a lot on her YouTube. There was a vlog from a while ago. So we went to her Instagram and you can see here that she is eating a lot of cheese, a lot of eggs. You see this over and over in her pictures. She loves feta.
And we know from our own personal experience when we were vegetarian, we were eating a lot of dairy and eggs. Even though at the time we didn't think so, in hindsight we were.
So a few of these photos are for quite a while back, and her most recent food pic showed tofu crumble on a salad, tofu scramble, and that looks fantastic. That's vegan. We don't know what the dressing is though, we're not sure, but she's obviously moving more towards a plant-based diet, which is wonderful. And just about the feta, we used to love this cheese. We would actually buy it by the bucket. My family is from Eastern Europe, and I can tell you, I used to put feta on everything. I couldn't eat pasta without feta.
Your family had feta running through their veins.
That was our drug.
You were literally addicted.
Literally, yeah. So if we can take it out, then anyone can do it. And again, there are vegan cheese substitutes.
What we want to emphasize here is that when someone says that they hardly eat any eggs or dairy, they're forgetting the individual someones. Because behind every bite of eggs or dairy, someone was murdered. And if you were that someone, you would say, well, you're hardly having any anyway. If you cut it out altogether, I could have kept my life.
Was it hard becoming a vegetarian? No, it was really easy. I just slowly cut out meat, and that way it wasn't like a shock to me. It was really easy to get used to it, and I would never ever go back. People always ask me if I miss meat. No, the thought of it repulses me. I hate the smell of it. I hate everything about it, so no.
And that's exactly how vegans feel about dairy and eggs.
And as easy as it was for you, Lauren, to take out meat and to go vegetarian, that's also how easy it can be for you to choose to go vegan. The only thing that's missing is the education. So here is why it is so important for vegetarians to go vegan.
Vegetarians often wrongly believe that milk and egg production causes no harm because the animals are not killed. But the meat, dairy and egg industries are all intrinsically linked. The dairy industry kills baby calves for veal because they cannot be exploited for milk. And in the egg industry, baby chicks are suffocated or ground up alive because they do not produce eggs. The female cows can live up to 20 years old, but because they are repeatedly impregnated and overmilked, they become too worn out to be profitable, so are killed at around 5 years old. Chickens can live up to 8 years old, but because of the stress that is put on their body from producing so many eggs, they are killed at around 1 to 2 years old. In the dairy industry, cows are artificially inseminated, often with a device known as a rape rack, so that they have babies and produce milk. Because humans desire the milk that was intended for these babies, the young calves are taken away from their mothers at birth, which is one of the most emotionally devastating things anyone can ever do. If the babies are males, they are killed for veal immediately, because they are of no use to the industry. Female babies will suffer the same fate as their mothers. Cows are then hooked up to machines around 3 times a day to be sucked dry, which always leads to painful infections such as mastitis. As a result of this, dairy contains large amounts of pus, or somatic cells. After repeating the cycle of impregnation and milking, dairy cows become worn out and unable to produce profitable quantities of milk. In the egg industry, chicks are born in large incubators and never get the chance to see their mothers. Chick sexes separate the male and female chicks. Because males are of no use to the industry, they are suffocated or ground up alive. The female chicks will have their beaks cut off and will then be crammed into tiny cages or overcrowded sheds. The chicks are crammed together with barely enough space to move. They are forced to urinate and defecate on each other, and the resulting ammonia causes severe damage to their lungs. Many chickens die in their cages and are often left to rot. Chickens have been genetically modified to produce 300 eggs a year instead of their normal 17, which puts a massive strain on their bodies. After 2 years, when they are no longer profitable to the industry, those that have survived are sent for slaughter. They may be gassed or electrocuted and scalded to death.
So not only are eggs and dairy extremely cruel, but they are also horrific for the environment. We recommend people watch this documentary, Cowspiracy, to learn more, and they are terrible for our health. Again, eggs and dairy are liquid meat. They are full of saturated fat and animal protein and cholesterol. These things are linked to our leading causes of death, including heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and so much more. We've linked some resources down below in the description box, and we encourage you to keep watching and learning about why these products are killing us.
Now, we've focused exclusively on food in this video because 98% of cruelty towards animals takes place in the food production system. However, veganism is not a diet. It's a lifestyle that seeks to exclude, as far as is practicable and possible, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, entertainment, or any other purpose. Now, we don't have time to go into these other areas in this video because it's already too long, so we've linked some other videos for you to watch in the description box below.
So that's our video for you, Lauren. We hope that it's helped you make those final connections to either go vegan or perhaps just 100% plant-based at this stage.
Lauren, if you need any help at all, please don't hesitate to contact us. We'd be more than happy to assist you. To our viewers, help us make sure that Lauren sees this video. Her social media is linked below. And remember, no hate comments, please. We're here to educate, not hate. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, until next time, as we always say, that going vegan is not the most we can do.
It's the least we can do. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys. What is going to get a gamer like Leah with almost 3 million subscribers watching a vegan channel and talking about it on her channel? What would you want if you were a food animal about to be murdered?